Hello. Welcome everyone to JLABTV. I'm JLAB and this is something slightly different where we're going to be talking about our stream save with Vysočina Jihlava as I attempt to build up the nation of the Czech Republic. So the goal for this video is to recap how our first season has gone, for those who don't want to watch the stream highlights, for those who don't want to watch the streams. And I thought to myself, why not go over all of the transfers, all of the results we've had, and then go on to say what we want to do for the future, as well as go over how the Czech Republic national team are also doing, as well as the coefficients for the Czech Republic. I thought I'd try it, so let's go over it. And I was thinking to myself, okay, so what can we do to improve the squad? Where can we strengthen? Because we were predicted to finish in 5th place, and the team was not as good as I hoped it would be, so I needed to improve the squad and quickly. And given that the team had literally spent 135,000 on a 35-year-old, sorry, who isn't going to be good enough for the division next year, and has got an extra year on his contract, we weren't always going to have our best time. And let's be honest, when this guy was with us at the beginning of the season, he was like 3-star, 4 stars. Yeah, he's not that good anymore, and he's only really good enough to be a good player for this division. So we did improve, and given that they spent 135,000 on this player, I wasn't happy when I saw that. Mind you, I'm not much better. I brought this guy on a free transfer thinking, oh, we need strength and depth, we need some good things. He didn't improve, he didn't do well for me. He got 6.88 average rating, and I thought, I don't like you. I couldn't give him the first team football we wanted, and when he did play for me at times, he let me down, and then his physicals decided to decline massively, so he's going to be let go at the end of the season. And for winger, you kind of need physicals. He doesn't have physicals, so goodbye. Lucas Motel we bought as a centre midfielder. He was, I think, 3-star when we started this. He's now gone down to 2.5 stars, maybe even worse. He's going to be leaving at the end of the season. He's only a decent player for his division. He dreads big matches. I wonder why I bought him now. I guess I was kind of just focusing on trying to strengthen the depth of midfield because we only had 2 midfielders in our team at the time in the centre of the park, and they're both 35 and 36. So, yeah. And one of them is also retired at the end of the season, which is also not ideal. However, we struck gold when we decided to bring in Ibrahim Keita. He scored 28 goals in 29 matches in the league and 32 goals in 32 matches overall. For someone who doesn't like big matches and hadn't scored that many goals before he turned up for us, he'd never got more than 3 goals in a year, and he played in the top flight for the last 2 seasons and was bought for 170,000. 24,000, he might have just turned out to be perhaps the best player we've ever gotten. And he's been around, started the rules, went to Slovakia, then to Greece, and now is in the Czech Republic. No idea what's going on with him, but really, when he's scoring 28 goals in 29 matches for this division, he's a good signing for anyone, and he's kind of helped us win the league. Whether we'll use him next year, I don't know, but he's only considered to be a leading player for this division, and doesn't like big matches, so might need to get a striker next year, even if I've given it a new contract, which is going to go over until next year, but that's perfectly fine. We can work with this. So another player I'm not going to keep hold of next year is Andersek. I paid 22 grand for his services. I didn't really use him. I started him 7 times and brought him from the bench 18 times. Yeah, it's not my smartest ever move. I also thought he'd be a winger who was going to set the world alight, and then we had Matuka being really good, so Matuka kind of made sure the guy wasn't going to be in the first team, even if he dreads big matches, so that's annoying. He can improve, he is consistent, so I'm thinking this guy could be good enough for the top flight next year. It's just a shame that we've kind of brought a 27-year-old for 22 grand, and for the one season he was around, he wasn't really getting a lot of game time. I don't think we'll ever really utilize him next year, because he'd be out of his depth, even if he's a good player for the division above. Most because he's a good player for the division that we're playing in right now and not the division above. So we bought this guy on a free transfer, and partway through the season we sold him to Austrian club Wacker Innsbruck. So that's a sign that we did not get on. For some reason, I tried at university in football, and even though he got 6.84, we just didn't get along. I think I upset him or he upset me. He started 10 times. He made a few mistakes I didn't want to see him make, and yeah, he was just frustrating me, so I sold him for 3.4 grand. The fact I made a profit on him, I think, says how good of a business move it was, but we paid him a bit too much money, I think, in the first place, so maybe it wasn't. Stefan Kors was really good for us. 8 goals, 9 assists. Yet I'm thinking of not signing him on next year because he's only a decent player for his division. It says a lot that I'm thinking I have to think for the division above next year. And given that most of these players I signed for a 1-year deal, he's also 33. He's injury prone. He's not going to get much better. So I really need to strengthen the squad, and it's not ideal for him. But as an inverted winger, he did a good job for me. I even brought him in the middle of the park as well at times. So he's very versatile. I just don't see myself using him much more after the season, really. Let's just say this was our best left back at the time when we started the save, and I thought, can't really rely on a person who's only good enough to be a third-tier player and has a casual personality, so isn't going to improve. I need a new left back. So Matej Kalisic was the person we brought in for 49,500. Did have injury spells where he was injured, but we also brought someone in later that could cover, so that was also useful. He's very consistent, was good enough for this division, and could be a leading player for this division. Enjoys big matches. There was not a lot I didn't like about him, and I thought, you know what, for a 2-year, 1-year deal, he made sense to bring in, even if we might need to replace him very quickly for next season. So I was looking around my division, and I thought, I need someone who can help us in defense, because Robert Stefanik is not really much better than this guy, and I need a replacement, because this guy is only, a good player for this division, could be a leading player for this division, but he doesn't like big matches. He's injury prone, so if he gets injured, we need someone to replace him. And we got that replacement in Yuri Perosh. And given that he has been a very good player for us, played 28 times, got an average rating of 7.33, I like to think he's been my best signing in defense. And given we took him from Dukla Prague for just 34,000, he was transfer listed, I think, as well. But I don't know. I feel like he was either transfer listed or he was available for transfer. We picked him up. It makes sense to pick him up. And defensively, we're the best defense in the league. And then we have him alongside Vidrell, who is good enough for the top flight, a decent player for it, and is very consistent, even if he hates big matches. Between the two of them, we just had the best partnership in the league in defense, and it just made sense to have the two of them. Now, whether or not Pirosh is going to be able to cope in the top flight, I don't know. I'm hoping he can, but if he doesn't, then we may need to bring more people in. So a player I kind of brought in as a last gasp replacement because I needed a right back, because I don't think I had any other right backs that I felt I could trust. But we brought Dante Rofov as the right back. I'm probably saying his name wrong, I apologize, but he can play as a right back and a left back. We play him mostly as a right back, but as a left back, he could be an inverted wing back. So again, very useful. He had potential as well. He's only 21, to be fair, so he could be a top flight player in the future. So I'm thinking I'm going to stick with him, but if I get an option for next year, I will probably replace him regardless. And it's just one of those things. And I just thought, you know what? Compared to the person he was replacing, it made sense to bring the guy in, even if Cristal can also play there, and is very good to play there as well. He's inconsistent, unfortunately, and he does have a few weaknesses. But other than that, he also was only, a good player for this division, and was older, even if he relishes big matches, and could be a top flight player as well. I needed two players who could compete for the first team spot on the right back position, and I got that with these two players, especially when Helisic got suspended or something, or injured. It made sense to bring both of them in. Also, the guy can play at the centre back as well, so very versatile player. I've given him a 2-year deal though, so that might be a move of stupidity on my part. So our first game in charge, we saw ourselves drop 2 points when we kind of gave up a lead. I was disappointed by it, but it was one of those things. And then we took on Dukla Prague and we found ourselves winning, and I thought, okay, the tactic I'm using is not bad, we just need to work on it. But then we drew against Lesin, who ended up being one of the tougher teams in the division anyway, so that was not the end of the world. And then at the end of the first string, we actually lost our first game in the league. And I genuinely was thinking, okay, so Pajov Brunner are going to be a difficult team to deal with. They've just beaten us. And they were 6 points clear, 7 points clear at the top of this time. So we needed to kick on from there and hope for the best. And in the cup, we were okay. We won 7 in the second round because we were given the luxury of having a team that's not so great. And then we were just winning left, right, and centre in the league. And then we took on Slavia Prague and we actually took the lead. And they only went through in this game because they ended up getting 2 late goals. So I didn't think it's the end of the world. And I thought to myself, why not continue on? We know we can take on the bigger teams. We know we can take on some of the most impressive teams in this country. Why not go forward from there? And we kind of showed that, yes, we are a team to be reckoned with. We were winning left, right, and centre. We drew our next game. I think it was just a hangover from the fact we got beaten in the last match. But then we just won against their front centre. And I thought, okay, that's good. So we have a transfer window. We have a winter break in the middle of the season. And I saw that this guy was available. I'm going to be honest, I didn't think I'd be able to bring in Simon Pirelli as my first choice goalkeeper, but we brought him in. He's a good player for the division above, so we have someone who will be ready-made for the division next year. But he was useful, he was good, and having this kind of person as our defender, bought for 110,000 from Brescia, who wasn't using him after they signed him for free. Honestly, they're probably thinking, we made a profit on this guy, but I'm going to be honest, I don't know what's happened with his career, but we've got him now in the Czech Republic. He's our first choice goalkeeper. I'm desperately hoping we can keep hold of him. He's got a value between 140 and 220,000. If a bid comes in that we might have to accept, then I can see my board accepting it. But this guy's really, really good. And then we brought in Mohamed Doumbia as our centre midfielder. And when I saw this guy was available and actually was on a month-to-month contract with JLAB Prague, I saw this as an opportunity to get another good player from JLAB Prague and bring him to me. And he was really good. Now, his average rating was only, what, 7.09? That was mostly with us, and his time at JLAB Prague was not amazing. He did better for us in 9 matches than he did for JLAB Prague in 15. A goal and 3 assists and a player of the match award. So we got the most out of him, and given we had to pay just 51,000 for his services, given that we literally broke his contract effectively and just offered him a contract, said, okay, do you want to sign for us? He said yes, we brought him in. And he's just really good. Box to box, and Mazzala, useful. Yes, he's not the quickest, but he's a good player for the division above, a decent player for the division above. He can still improve. So I thought, no brainer, why not bring the guy in? And then we came back, and I don't think I'm ever going to get this run of form like this again. We won our next 4, we then drew our next 2 afterwards, and this is against a team that we definitely wanted revenge against. The one team that we didn't beat in the league was Zembrodska Brno, and I thought, okay, that's the team we need to beat next time. But then we drew away from her again after giving another lead in Brabran, and afterwards we just won the rest of our games. And it was after, when we won the league title in this match, I knew I could make another transfer, which was very nice, and we brought in our man. So Keita was only really available to be brought by us after we got our new initial budgets. This is after we literally won the league, so I thought, you know what, I'll bring him on trial, see what he can do. He's very well-rounded. Yes, he's 30. Yes, he might already look like he's declined a little bit, but he is exciting to me. A player that is a decent player for division above. He can play on multiple wings as a winger and inverted winger. We use both in this team and can play further back. This guy is so versatile, it would be a miss to say no to him. And this guy was just ridiculous. I thought, okay, we can offer you a contract. How much do you want? I realize that we can offer players about $2,000 now. We've got so much money to splash on players. It's ridiculous. And I now know thinking, okay, we've got an option. Why not exploit it and take advantage of this situation? He played just 4 times for us, got a 7.28. In the last 4 games of the season, he got 2 assists. We won every match. His transfer value is between 425 and 900,000. If someone approaches us to sign the guy for that sort of value, I'm probably going to accept it, given he's 30. He's been in Spain his entire career, playing for Malaga, playing for Deportivo La Coruña. Malaga bought him for 4.1 million back in the day. And given we've got this guy on a free transfer and we could potentially make a profit if we got a big move, this guy's really useful. He's got experience in the top flight of Spanish football. Why wouldn't I sign the guy? He's just really good for us, and it makes sense to bring this guy in. And in the last 4 games, to break a record, we won our 4 games. And then we won the league title quite comfortably, winning by 19 points. And I thought, yes, this is the season we want to be going for. And we broke a record doing it by getting the most amount of points in a league season. Definitely was not expecting that at the beginning of the season, but there you go, we did ourselves justice. We didn't break the record for most goals though, we were just a bit shy of that by about 2 goals from matching it and 3 goals from breaking it, but overall, a very successful season. We also let a load of players go out permanently or on loans. So yeah, this will be the only person we're going to talk about. He's 27, he's consistent, but compare him to Pirelli, I kind of see this as a no contest, and Firmolo would literally just be a backup goalkeeper for Pirelli. and I didn't see him playing for me anymore. We already got a goalkeeper who could be a lot better in potential in Lachman. And Lachman is not as good as Vymola, but honestly, Lachman's only 21. Vymola's 27. He's not going to get much better. And Paredes is, a lot better than the guy too. So it makes sense to bring the guy in and to let the other guy go. It makes sense to let Vymola go. And yeah, we've got a lot of things we can work on. And I thought, why not? So for transfer value next year, we have 176,000 in the transfer budget and a wage budget of 26,609 left. And given that we could potentially tinker this, so wage budget is 44,000, 41,000. We're spending just 14,000 right now. We've got a lot of room to grow with and to work with. We can even try and bring some more people in for the scouting team as well. We've got a lot of knowledge as well because I know the right people to do this with. I want to bring other people in, but they said no. So we didn't get all the people we wanted. But honestly, we've got more spots in the team, the backroom staff to bring people in. We can work on this. And I'm thinking this is a team that's got a long way to go. Now, admittedly, the goal for this is to get the Czech Republic up into the nicer areas of the coefficients as well, because we want to build a nation up. Currently, the Czech Republic are in 16th place. That is something that's just happened. They were lower last year, I believe. So we are already looking like we could have a season where the team can get an extra Champions League spot in the future. They just need to get one more place. And if we can get that going up without us even taking part in Europe, that's great. We do have one Champions League spot and 3 Europa Conference League spots. Honestly, I think the goal for next season would just be to survive in the top flight because I don't see us really getting into Europe and doing anything productive right now. We definitely need to strengthen our squad. We need to make sure that everything we do for this team is going to be worthwhile. We have good money for sponsorships as well. 1.3 million at the moment. And it's a nice situation to be in, even if the sponsorship for the division above is quite vastly different. So we're probably going to be struggling financially against a lot of the teams in the top flight. We've got one of the smallest stadiums in the country too, with 4,500 for our stadium. I think long term, if we want to be fighting for a good position along the like with Sparta Prague, Slavia Prague, who we lost to in the Cup, we need to work on a few things. Still, we've managed to secure the first piece of silverware for the club in their history, which I thought was not actually the case, but then I realised, oh, we've actually won their first piece of silverware in the club's history. They've not even won the third or fourth tiers, and they've been promoted many times to the top flight. They just done it by getting either third place or by getting second place. So yeah, interesting to note that was the reason why they've been in the top flight. And they've never been out of the top 2 tiers apparently since 2001. I don't know how truthful this is. So correct me if I'm wrong when I say that that was the first piece of silver they've ever won. I want to be knowledgeable. I want to know things. And they've only been promoted to the top tier twice. They've only done it by finishing second place twice. So yeah, it's just one of those things, isn't it? But the long-term goal would be to also be fighting alongside Slavia Prague, Victoria Pleasant, and Sparta Prague as top teams that are currently in the 3.5-star bracket for reputation. If we can get our reputation to be as high as that, if not higher, by being 4-star, 5-star in the future, that would be lovely. But we just got to be hopeful that we can pull that off. Especially now that we're going to be in the top flight next year, looking to try and survive in the top flight for the very first time. Next year is going to be a tough challenge, I think, because we're going to be one of the worst teams in the division. And long term, we want to try and get ourselves into top flight and chance for the title every year, chance for the cups, to get into Europe every single year, not be stopped. That's the long-term goal. And to win the Champions League as well as other domestic and European competitions. That's literally the goal for the save with this team. And also to try and win the National Leagues, the European Championship, and the World Cup with the Czech Republic as well, 1 point. Speaking of the Czech Republic, we looked at the World Cup qualifiers in their Group F. They failed to get through in a group that had themselves Belgium and Wales. Wales was the team that went through along with Belgium, which is a bit disappointing. That being said, they're actually in the playoffs, so we don't know who's going to go through that. The Wales did get through and beat Poland, so that's a good sign. Armenia beat Serbia 4-0. And Finland did beat Armenia to go through. Wales were knocked out by Sweden. Switzerland went through by beating Austria. So, yeah, the team that finished second in the group with the Czech Republic did not even get through to the World Cup. And the fact that they lost to Wales at home was probably where they lost the chance to progress to the next stage of the World Cup, which is disappointing. And also the Nations League, they've got Spain, England and Switzerland they kind of need to start winning in Switzerland, or else they're going to be struggling. And maybe that job could be available a lot sooner than I was expecting it to be. Either way, I just want to recap this, and I just want to go over the whole season, how it's been going. Let me know how you thought this was, and I actually genuinely don't know if I've done a good job with this, completely honest with you, because I really didn't write any notes. But either way, hope you guys have enjoyed this, hope you guys will like and share this video, and let's just go to the channel. It really does help me a lot. And let me know what you want to see more in the future in these kind of videos, and if you feel like there can be more improvements being made in the future, because I really want to hear your feedback on this, and I genuinely don't know what to expect. So either way, until next time, goodbye, and well, good night.